Everybody, thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective for this Tuesday, March 23rd. We appreciate everybody joining us this morning. I'm Robert Theobald, the Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Arizona Commerce Authority. We'd like to first start by thanking all of our community partners. We could not do these bootcamp sessions without them, without their time, their effort, and their expertise. So Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective is designed to help small businesses work through the COVID crisis and return stronger than ever. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners, and not only is it a boot camp, but it is also a resource collective. So as we look at the bootcamp website real quick and talk about it, the information in the bootcamp, we cover things like PPP, loan forgiveness, guidance for your business, marketing strategies, and many other topics. You can find all the information on this website, azcommerce.com/small business bootcamp. And we will post that in the chat, so you don't have to try to write that down. But on this website, you have a lot of great information. One, you have the links to register for the current and upcoming sessions. And then you have the link for the Resource Collective. And then you have our archive, which is a treasure trove of learning. It's all of our previous bootcamp sessions that have been recorded. We post them on there in the archive, and it creates a nice library of content with over 125 different sessions that you can go back and review. All of our sessions are recorded, so if you can't make one, but you want to see it, you can go back and watch it afterwards. On the Resource Collective, this is a great site that we link to. The Resource Collective includes all the tools, resources, and guides brought to us by our community partners. There's a lot of great information you can find on here. And this is just a sample of some of the guides and tools that you'll find on a Resource Collective. Unemployment insurance, safe retail, guidance for restaurants, cosmetologists, barbershops, construction, manufacturing. A lot of great information can be found on the Resource Collective. Additionally, on the azcommerce.com website, you can find our Arizona Business Resource page for COVID-19. And on this page, you'll find guidance for businesses, financial resources, and a number of other things to help all size businesses throughout Arizona during COVID. So real quick, I want to touch on a few of the programs that we have here at the ACA that can help support small businesses. We have our small business services, and we can help small businesses that are working and navigating through the Small Business Administration information, working with the SBDC or SCORE or the other no-cost business programs that are available throughout the state. We can also help work with local banking institutions, local lenders for the various different programs. And then we can provide updates for latest developments. Our workforce division can help support small businesses that are looking to hire or train their employees. They have programs for hiring, they have programs for training. They're a great resource as well. And then finally, our Arizona MEP, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership, is part of a nationwide program, and they're also nationally recognized for their expert abilities in working with manufacturers to help them grow and develop based on their goals and needs. Additionally, for those looking to start a side gig or start their own small business, we have our small business checklist. The checklist program is an interactive online resource that can help individuals understand the licensing, registration, and compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal levels. It is a great resource as you're looking to start your business or expand into different product lines. And then finally, I want to touch quickly on the state's COVID-19 information and resource website, arizonatogether.org. It is a great tool for all things related to COVID-19. With that, I want to jump into some updates. We've got a lot of good updates over the past week. First, just recently, the SBA announced that the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant will open for applications on April 8th. We are going to do a special session this Friday to talk about that, and I'll touch on that here in a little bit. right here below, a special boot camp session. We're also going to talk on Friday about the restaurant revitalization grant that was part of the recently signed stimulus package. So Friday's got a great session on those two grant programs. There's a lot of information that as a restaurant or an event venue that you need to know about before the portals open for application. So we're going to touch on that information as well. If you know someone that has a restaurant or an event venue, please share this information with them so that they can attend. Additionally, I just want to share the link for the SBA's COVID-19 relief options. This is one of those pages that is a small business. And I recommend you mark as a favorite on your web browser so you can access it easily. It's a great location to access the updates from the SBA on the different programs. Additionally, want to share that the COVID-19 EIDL and other disaster loans, repayment of those has been deferred until 2022. That was a great update from last week. And then the IRS recently extended the tax deadlines to May 17th. So that's also good to know. So with that, we're going to look at this week's sessions. Today, our session is how to bring and brand your business online. Thursday's session is hiring in 2021, how to onboard like a pro. We have Nikki Ramirez, an HR expert, sharing that session with us. And then Friday, we have a special session. We did it on Friday because we wanted to make sure that we had the availability of the SBA to be with us. And on Friday, we're going to have SBA funding for restaurants and event venues. And we will have Brian Quijada from the SBA, as well as Dan Bogert from the Arizona Restaurant Association with us to share the information on those two programs I mentioned to help event venues and restaurants. So please sign up and join us for that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to our presenter for today, Martin Guerrero from Square Inc. He has got a great presentation for us on bringing your business and your brand online. So Martin, it is all yours.
Thanks, Robert. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Martin, we got a lot of background noise. I don't know.
A lot of background noise? Let me just turn off my fan here. Let's see if it's my fan.
Yep, it is gone. Presentation looks good. You are ready to go.
Well, hey everybody, so yeah, we're good?
Yep.
All right. So yeah, thank you for the introduction there, Robert. And yeah, tons of great resources there. I know the one for the restaurants I just signed up for as well, because really great information there. I know restaurants have been hit tremendously hard this past year. So, but today we're going to be talking about the basics for getting online for the very first time, or maybe you've had a really basic online presence and are looking to build out something more robust. Then this presentation is going to be for you. And anything we talk about in this presentation today is going to be, it's not going to be specific to Square. I work for the Square small business and community advocacy team. And we do have a Square online store builder, but this is going to be for any builder out there that you want to use that you have a preference for. So it's crucial at Square that we help our sellers understand the importance of owning their own online store, and for a couple of key reasons. Number one, when you own your web presence, you have full creative control, right? You can iterate on your merchandising, your products, how they're going to look, how you describe them, and really ultimate control over the vision. Second, you have control on price. With marketplaces, there are usually commission fees for finding customers, but with your own online store, you have control over your price and control over your margins. Now, not that marketplaces don't have their purpose. They're a great resource for finding new customers. But once you get those customers, you really want to be kind of then funneling them towards your own website. And third and most important, you own the relationship with your customers, right? They're your customer. They're purchasing from you directly. Really can't stress enough how important it is that you own that relationship with your customer and all the data that comes along with that. So to help you in your journey today, I want you to think about why you want to get online in the first place, right? What is the purpose of the site that you want to build? And then the purpose of the site you want to build is really the obvious reason for what you think it's going to do for you, right? So on the left-hand side of the page here, I've listed some of the most common purposes I hear from folks when they're telling me why they want to get online, or I want to get more traffic, grow my audience, showcase my products, share what I know. You know, while those are all great reasons to have a website, they don't necessarily help you do anything specific, which is why you want to turn that purpose into a goal, right? The goal is the real reason why you want and need a website. So in the case of attracting traffic, growing my audience, really the purpose might be to sell an ebook to that audience, right? Or to, when I hear someone say showcase my products, you're really talking about, I want to sell my products. I want to make them available for sale. I want to be able to make money off of my product. So really think about the end goal there. So we're going to review some of the basics that just really any successful business website should have. Number one, starting with your logo. If you have one, and you really should, it should be displayed right away, right? Make sure that your logo fits into your brand in every way, especially with colors. It's very affordable nowadays to hire someone to create a logo for you. Tons of freelancers out there, especially here locally as well. Search box. The search box is a big one, especially when it's right in the upper fold. When we talk about the upper fold, that's the top part of your website before they have to do any scrolling down. And we found that simply having the option to search puts buyers at ease. Even if they don't use it, knowing it's there is a transparency cue for your buyers. And then the footer, right? So studies show that after a person visits your website, after looking at the main navigation and header image, they're going to scroll down to the bottom and they're going to see the footer. This is a great place for contact info, social media links, and even newsletter sign-up forms. So speaking of social media networks, right? You definitely want to have those on your site, especially if you're engaging on social media. You'll definitely want to have those there. This really goes towards social proof and things that are familiar, right? Buyers are going to do some investigating into your business, and that means looking at your activity on social media. And then the header image, right? So when I mentioned the top fold of the website, that's that first part that they see before they have to do any scrolling. That main header image, or sometimes referred to as a hero image, is one of the first key pieces of content your visitors see. So that plays a key role in grabbing their attention, establishing a connection. Also a great website, great image there can really give you some great personality and help you stand out amongst your competitors. Mobile optimize. I mean, it goes without saying, the e-commerce world now is so much more geared towards the mobile experience, and we'll go over that towards the end of the presentation here. Shopping from smartphones was well over 50% in 2020. We didn't expect it to be well over 50% this last year, but obviously the shelter-in-place mandates all kind of spurred that along, and we're just going to see that growth continue even more so. And then security, an SSL, a must-have for any website taking payments, right? So when you go to a website, in the address bar, you'll normally see like a little padlock, or it'll say HTTPS, signifying that it's secure. And most browsers now, like Chrome and Firefox, will notify any visitors if your site is not secure, and sometimes even block your content if it's not secure. So it's definitely a must-have, and most providers will include that as part of the overall site builder. And then when you talk about familiarity and just kind of social proof, we talk about standard pages, right? So your home page, about page, shop, those really familiar titles of pages, making them really upfront, standing out so folks can see those. They're not having to hunt around and find those on later on. All right, so let's go over now what you want to consider when you're registering your business's domain name, right? This is going to be your address on the internet, and a great domain really lets people know kind of at a glance why you're online and kind of why you're awesome. So the most common domain extensions are .com, .net, .info, .org. These were some of the first domain extensions that were available publicly, which is why so many of the sites use them. And of course, .com being just the absolute king of those. And then so if you're using slang words or words with multiple spellings, it might be harder for customers to find your site. A good example of that one is the word express, right? So I see the word express spelled with EX and sometimes with just an X. If you're just, conveying that to someone, you don't kind of let them know which way it is. Maybe your competitor has registered the other version and they get to your competitor. but really making it easier for them to find you with just standard enumeration there. And if your domain is long and complex, right, it might you risk your customers mistyping it, misspelling it. As short and simple as you can is definitely the way to go. And then numbers and hyphens really do get misunderstood, kind of with the express example there. The number 5 versus 5 spelled out, the dashes or the hyphens go in the wrong place. So really want to avoid them misspelling it or getting to the wrong address altogether. And then if you don't have a unique business name, then you might want to consider using keywords that describe your business and services you offer, right? So, and then just do some research, making sure the name's not trademark or copyrighted already, right? So if you're maybe in the windshield replacement business, which is huge here in Arizona, right? You might do like Phoenix windshield replacement or Phoenix windshield repair. Your business might be Martin's Glass, but having that name with the really easy keywords like that might make it easier for folks to find you, and make it easier for you to get ranked on Google and the other search engines. And then once you do find a domain name that you really like and find that it's available, I highly recommend locking it in. Domain names nowadays, I mean, you can get them anywhere from $1 up to $20 a year. You can only buy them in yearly increments, so they're really inexpensive. So if you do find a name that you really like, I recommend getting it because there's harder and harder to find really good, really catchy domain names, especially today with just a plethora of folks really moving to online. All right, so now that you have your domain name locked in, what can you do with it? Number one, obviously, you want to connect it to your website. That's where you want to direct folks to do business with you. Number two, you can create a custom email address. So, president at phoenixwindshieldrepair.com or whatever your domain name might be. And then number three, registering your social media handles to match. Highly recommend doing that as well. All right, so let's look at product photography. And product photography has seen such a huge growth this past year. Because when you're shopping online, you're really paying close attention to the images, right? Even often without even realizing it. It's subconsciously you're looking at images there, and so we know that product photos are really important. Just how important? We love stats and data, so we run surveys all the time of our e-commerce customers to find out how important photography is, and well over 80% of e-commerce shoppers have told us that product pictures are one of the most influential reasons when they decide to purchase a product online. The opposite of that, over 25% of online product returns are because an item looked different than in the photos, right? So you really want to display your products in the most positive light possible there. Being that, folks, maybe you were a brick and mortar location and you really had to pivot to online, and you just don't have those folks being able to just come in, see it, touch it, look at it, right? If you want to have a photo, has to do that for you, online. So let's take a look at this kind of before example that we have here. So the green background itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the reflection within the image is a little distracting here. So it looks like they kind of placed it on a glass countertop or tabletop. Also, it's patterned, so you're kind of just trying to figure out what the pattern is. Really takes away focus from the product itself. And then you see on the left-hand side of the photo there, the product itself is kind of cut off a little bit there. So really not showcasing your product all the way. Here's that same item with the white background with no reflection. It makes the product really stand out, and here you get to really see all of the product, right? And that's not to say that you have to always do white backgrounds. I know the majority of product photos out there are on white backgrounds, and that's what we call the Amazon effect. That's just how they are. So most folks tend to copy that. But you can use colors here as well. All right, so here's some tips and kind of just some best practices when taking your product photos here. Keep testing until you find what works best for your products. About 3/4 of product pictures on the web, like I mentioned, are on white backgrounds. But if you're looking to build a unique brand for your site that's stand apart from the competition, you can definitely consider using bright colors, prints, as long as they match your overall brand and not taking focus away from your product photos. And then definitely more angles. Again, you really want folks to be able to see the product in as many angles as possible. so they can imagine it, especially in the case of jewelry. You want to showcase it on different angles. You maybe want to have a photo of it on someone's wrist if it's a bracelet or a watch or a ring, right? And then that kind of puts someone in that future state of, oh, that's what it's going to look like on my hand, right? Helping them along in that buying decision here. And then, up close photos, distance shots, really just showcasing your product in the best possible light. And then obviously with light, artistic considerations aside, use lighting that just brings out the best representation of your products. And I'm queuing up the next slide here for video, which, as we all know, it's been, a huge player this past year. Video is really, king for content as of late. All right, so let's look at some of the most used types of video in marketing today, and what marketing objective each one of them serves the most. Right, so how-to videos, immensely popular, right? That's essentially how YouTube was built up, right? Being able to type in how to fix this, how to do that, right? Immensely popular, and they work great because your prospects will be looking to solve a particular problem, and you can help them with the how-to video. And then gear your video towards showing your product's benefits. That's going to help resonate more with your audience. Don't just explain a list of features, right? And then everybody wants to feel like they're a part of a great story. So use company videos to tell yours, right? Show them the real people on your team, humanizing, that helps to humanize your brand and boost trust, right? So like a restaurant, you usually see the beautiful plates of food, the dining room, how it's all set up. They may jump onto Instagram and do an Instagram live and showcase, what's going on in the back kitchen when everybody's, hustling and moving back there to get your food out. Really showcasing, kind of the behind the scenes of that to really show that, you're a real business. And then FAQ videos, same thing. They're kind of with the how-to. They should be able to answer the most common doubts amongst your clients. So really talking to your customers, right? What are some of the questions they had, or some of the doubts about your product they had before buying? So that way you can, gear your videos towards that. Right? A clear FAQ video, just help those doubts disappear and get folks ready to just move forward with the purchase. And then testimonial videos really help you build up your brand and trust by showcasing your clients talking in front of the camera about their initial pain points and how your product or service solve that for them. I really love testimonials. I mean, testimonials and just reviews in general when they're verified, especially in video format, because even though it's not from you, it's about you, right? And that goes to that, again, that social proof. This is someone in my community, someone in my neighborhood that bought such and such product and is, is willing to make this video to say how great it was or how it solved the problem for them. Really goes towards building trust. And then emotional, inspirational, right? Make someone's day, motivate them into action. A greeting card company, for instance, could showcase a child, opening a birthday card, a paper birthday card from his grandparents, right? And remind consumers that emails and video calls aren't everything, right? Sometimes just having that physical piece of paper in your hand is well worth it. All right, so moving on to calls to action. And some of those videos are really gonna, kind of do that, right? So when we refer to a call to action or a CTA, right? The main purposes of those are to tell someone what they should do and give them the motivation to do so, right? So if you're failing to use call to actions on your site to guide users through your site and down a path to doing business with you, you could be losing sales, right? Again, think about when someone walks into your shop and they ask you a question, you can steer them towards here or there to find the product or service they're looking for. When they're online, you're not there in person, so using buttons, calls to action to guide them really kind of replaces that. And here we have an example of a call to action on a website here. You'll notice, the blue button really kind of stands out from the dark background, so your eyes are immediately drawn to it. It just says start a free online store. It's not please or maybe, it's just pretty direct there. So again, place your calls to action on your website where people can easily see them, ideally at the top or the center of the page, and make them stand out by using larger fonts, bright colors, or contrasting colors, right? Tell people exactly why they should do what they're doing, right? If you want them to subscribe, we've all seen these call to actions on all websites, right? Buy now, shop now, upgrade today, register for this webinar, right? That's a call to action, really, making you do something there. Then you could even use, a call to action to drive your prospects to watch one of the videos we just discussed, right? Hey, watch today's testimonial video, or watch today's behind the scenes video, right? Calling them to action. And then in that video, you may even call them to action to do something else from there. And then, I mean, I like free things, your customers like free things, you like free things. So if you can offer them, figure out how to use freebies, discounts, other incentives to encourage them to take action. Right? Download our free recipe today, or download today's white paper, anything like that, to offering them something in return for doing business with you. A place where you're really going to use call to action is email marketing. So in 2020, over 300 billion emails were sent and received each and every day. So even though email marketing has been around forever, it's still something that your business can't afford to ignore. A tool as valuable as email marketing, really simply just using email to promote your products and services, right? But it's not just limited to that. A great email program is an important opportunity to create and or deepen the relationship between you and your customers. And to date, it's still one of the most cost-effective forms of digital marketing today, and create great results for your online store. And the thing, I know a lot of folks will get really hesitant to use email marketing because they don't want to be considered a spammer, right? They don't want to be kind of perceived as that way. And I tell people, like, when you add a newsletter sign up on your website, right? We've all seen them. We're all consumers ourselves. You go to a website, hey, give us your, add your email for 10% off your next purchase, or add your email to receive our newsletters about future promos, right? That's all optional. So if you can click out of there, you don't have to do that. When folks put in their email address, it's because they want to receive that, right? I have a specific email address that I use for all of those. So I know that inbox is going to be full of nothing but promotions. And I do scour through there just to make sure I'm not missing out on any amazing deals, because these are businesses I do business with. So I want to be aware of any new products or any new sales that are going on. So really don't hesitate to start gathering emails. It's a great way, especially if you're getting a website up and running the first time, having that there just to start building that customer base up is a great way to get started. So when we look at, some of the stuff I have here on email marketing, you can see for every dollar spent on email marketing, you can expect a return of $42. And that's nearly 40 times that of Facebook and Twitter marketing. So really, really inexpensive, cost-effective, and a great return on investment for for something that's easy to use. And then again, back to videos there, it increased your click rates by over 300%. Video is just king when it comes to content, and it's in kind of every facet of business nowadays. All right, so social media, right? Huge. So, but I tell people when they're getting started with social media marketing, and I wanted to add it to the website, right? No social media account is going to replace your website. This kind of goes to the beginning where you want to own that online presence, right? Your website is your digital home, and I like to say that it's the center of gravity for your online presence. That's why I kind of have all the logos here around it, because those are great resources, and most of them free, that you can use to gear traffic towards your website, where you control the end result there. So let's review what you can do so you can be successful with social media marketing. Number one, do your research, right? On which social media networks does your target audience hang out? Where are your competitors, right? What does each network offer you? I would say to folks, don't be on every single network just to be on every single network. If you're really, really active on Instagram, but your Facebook business page is just a ghost town, not a good look. I'd rather you not have one, or just have one and just say, hey, we do everything on Instagram, catch us there, right? Just so folks aren't hitting that, or your Twitter page. It's like, are they even in business still? Right? Letting folks know, hey, this is where we are, so they're not confused about that. Because you don't have to be on every single one and doing everything on one. It's a lot. I get it. And then number two, as goals, right, really help us give us direction. They're also how we know if we've succeeded. So what is it you want to accomplish with social media? Your goals shouldn't just necessarily be followers and likes, right? Maybe you want to generate a certain number of new leads to your website, right? Or drive a number of or a percentage of new website views. Maybe your call to action on your website is, call us today with a phone number, and you want to see how many phone calls that's generated, right? That kind of that end result there. And then it's not just enough, right, for folks to simply see your social media content. You want them to listen to and engage with it. So it helps ensure it's not all about you, right? If they're commenting or asking questions, be sure to respond and answer as much as you can. They're following you because you're sharing interesting information and you're creating opportunities to engage and relate. And then we talk about creating shareable content. And a lot of that same content I mentioned earlier in regards to video, that can just be repurposed for your social media. It can be just that. And then measuring success here, we're going to go on our own slide here. So how do you know if your work has paid off, right? What does success look like? Are you getting a return on the investment you're making? These are some of the key metrics you want to consider, right? So followers, fans, and views, on their own, they don't mean much, but they do certainly give you a sense of your overall reach, right? Especially like when you're talking about email marketing or social media marketing. Yeah, I've got now 10,000 followers. If I send out an email blast or a new post directing folks to my new product, I can probably expect a closing percentage of maybe 10% or less. So you kind of figure, okay, I'm going to get this many new sales out of that. So it kind of gives you that sense of your overall reach. Engagement, are people responding to and commenting on your content? Really figuring out what content that you're sharing is motivating your followers to share it. Right? When we talk about someone going viral, it's because folks are sharing it, right? They saw it, they enjoyed it, they think, oh, my friends and family should really see this. They share it and just kind of catches that wave and keeps going. And then clicks, right? This goes back to your call to action, right? You'll see a lot of Instagram posts, Facebook posts, click on the link in our bio to sign up for our class or to register for our webinar or anything like that. How many folks are actually clicking on that link and ending up at your website there? And this is all stuff you can measure, like your Facebook business page, your Instagram business profile, both of which are free. They give you this data, so you can really see that. And then there's other forms of capturing that data as well, with like Google Analytics, which is free as well. Really easy and simple to connect to a website, so you can get all the data that Google can provide you. And then last year we talked about action, right? And once they're there on your website, are they signing up for the newsletter? Are they submitting a contact form? Or are they buying anything, right? Are your sales going up? Kind of back to that previous call to action that we discussed earlier. So when you look at the total landscape of social media, there's no question it's vast and still evolving. And I understand that can be overwhelming, especially for a small business a bit unfamiliar with the topic, right? But if you really take the time to learn it and do it right, and by doing it right, I mean by being authentic, right? Offering content your audience craves, being yourself, right? Responding to and building relationships with your followers. Social media can really help you generate some big returns there. Before I go on to the next slide here, I saw something in the Q&A. Let me reply to that. What is the best way to register a domain name from Rebecca? There are a million ways to register a domain name through your whatever hosting company you're setting up your website through. We'll usually offer a domain name. There's a lot of large domain name companies out there. There's a local one here in the Valley called GoDaddy that's one of the largest out there. There's many Google domains. I mean, you can Google domain names and usually find discounts for first-time buyers of domain names. But there's a ton of them out there. Most folks will want to keep their domain name in the same account where they have their website built. That's usually the most common way. Some want to have a separate account for their domain name, so it's there, and a separate account for the website. They keep them separate. It really just kind of a personal preference there. All right, so go back to our slides here. Thank you, Rebecca, for asking the question. All right, so let's talk about mobile now. So your buyers are on mobile all the time, right? Think about your own behavior. Think back to the time you needed to order a last-minute gift, or order dinner, or carry out, or made an impulse buy while browsing on social media, all while on your phone. So how does your business prioritize mobile, and how does that impact your approach to getting online, and why does it matter? Right? So the mobile experience creates a lot of focus, right? So first, convenience matters when you're on a mobile device. You're likely multitasking, you don't have your full attention. So having clear ways to discover, pay, and fulfill are crucial on mobile. For payment, native pay options like Apple Pay and Google Pay are really the norm now and really a must-have. And most platforms offer that integration fairly easily. And then fulfillment, right? Lean into your local presence and allow same-day pickup or delivery, right? This will help you compete with, the 2-day free shipping, from Amazon, and give your customers really the intimacy they're craving. I mean, if you've been to any, Target or Walmart here in the Valley, you've seen they've changed their parking lots and now have all these slots for just pull up and, let them know you're here and they bring out your product for you because you bought it online. Now you're just picking it up, curbside. You can offer the same thing with most platforms. And we've seen, and I mentioned that because, we saw just in 2020, Google saw such a huge increase in requests for searches started with near me, right? Pizza place near me, clothing boutique, local clothing boutique near me. Local was also another huge search term in 2020. Folks really wanted to support the local small businesses because they wanted them to be there once we started to come out of this whole pandemic. So really leveraging your local presence, right? Allowing folks to buy online and pick up, curbside, or just walk in and pick up in store like the big box brands do. You can do that as well, just as easy to be able to compete. Second, mobile really focuses the user experience, right? Right now I'm on a laptop and I've got a monitor here, so I can see everything really big. But when you're on your mobile, right, your phone is a lot smaller. I mean, they're getting bigger, but it's still not, a laptop size or a desktop monitor size. So the screen size being shrunk forces you to focus on what's most important, right? You have a one-column view, kind of like in the example here. And there's less real estate on the page to add extra info. The performance of the page matters, right? So it has to be easy to navigate. This is where not having, flying animation or really tons of pop-ups really, helps focus the mobile experience here. And then additionally, your phone is contextually aware at all times, right? So it can help your buyers find your store and get directions right to you. Again, leveraging that unique local presence, right? They can look up, Siri or Alexa, where is the local, clothing store? Where can I buy a new pair? Where can I buy a new pair of boots around me? And it'll let you know what's close to you, how to get there, and direct them right into either to your website or right into your front door. Branding on mobile is simplified as well, even for the largest companies, right? You'll see very simplified color palettes and kind of user experiences. So when we talk about brand and how that can apply to mobile, it really helps focus the conversation here. You're no longer talking about flying animations, moving videos, because on mobile, buyers don't usually have the time to scroll through that. They really want to know the product, clicking on it, buying it, getting that information. So focusing on your colors, your fonts, your logo, and domain name, really crucial elements when it comes to mobile. But one thing about how those are being applied. So like in this Nike example here, right? It's pretty neutral here, right? Kind of white with some kind of gray background on the photos there. But then the Nike red, right? That's their overall brand colors. That Nike red pops in just a little bit there, right? Little splashes of that color there, just to remind you again that it's Nike's brand. So when buyers, can't come into your store to touch and feel your products, right? They need high quality images of what's available to them. Additionally, high quality interactions, right? If you add a product to the cart, is it popping up saying, "Oh, you've added a product to the cart"? They know, they're not having to guess, right? But most platforms are intuitive with that and will do that. They're just keeping an eye on stuff like that. Lastly, the quality of the end-to-end shopping experience is often overlooked on mobile. But pretend you're a customer, go through the whole experience on your mobile device, from finding your products to purchasing to what the pickup process looks like. Make sure that's all really reflective of your brand and what you want folks to see, when you're doing that. All right, so that ends my presentation. Happy to answer any questions. I did see something else in the Q&A there. Are there any SBA groups you recommend getting involved with here in the Valley? I think I'll punt that over to Robert and team. They're going to be the experts for a question like that.
William, depending on what you're referring to in SBA groups, I recommend that every business be connected with either the small business development centers or SCORE and their mentoring. Most small businesses can use that mentorship, and there's some great programs that both SCORE and the small business development centers have. So you can find SCORE at score.org, and the SBDCs for Arizona is azsbdc.net.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with SBDCs in here in Arizona and throughout the country, so can definitely recommend them. As recently, I worked with the SCORE group here in Arizona, so great group of business mentors there as well, helping one of my coworkers who started her own side business. They really were a great resource for her as well.
All right. Yes, please share your questions for Martin about getting online.
All right. So Faith has, we have a question for the group. Getting online seems overwhelming to our less tech savvy owners. Any advice to get them started? Yes. It's never been easier than it is today to get online. I know it's scary. It seems like it's going to be difficult, but believe me when I say it's never been easier. I mean, the software that's out there today just gets easier and easier because we really want to limit those barriers to getting online, because we know, I mean, the businesses that are doing this know that it's important for you to be online and for it to be easy for you to get online, because we want you to be there to be successful. Most companies that you work with will offer help either through how-to videos or live support, either by phone or by chat. I mean, there's tons of resources out there, as like Robert just mentioned. SCORE, SBDCs have resources as well. Arizona Commerce Authority, a great resource there as well. But for those that are less tech savvy, I mean, so many of the softwares that are available out there now really require no coding experience, right? You're not needing to code a website anymore. You're not needing to learn HTML. Most of it all nowadays is drag and drop, template based. It's really just plugging in your content and designing it, with the color schemes that you want. So I would say, don't be afraid, get started. For a lot of folks, I see that's a barrier to even get started, right? They want it to be perfect. I usually tell them, get something up online, just get something online versus, waiting for the day for it to be completely perfect, because you can iterate, right? You can publish today a one-page site, and over the next month, build out 5 more pages and then publish then, but just get started.
With that, as Martin mentioned, we haven't done a number of bootcamp sessions besides this one on getting online. And so if you go back in the archives, you can find great sessions on setting up your website, social media, videos, et cetera. So there's a lot of great previous sessions that are recorded that you can access.
So the question here, when measuring success via analytics, are there any specific measurements to be mindful of? There's a ton of them out there, but some of the more important ones, especially available for free through Google Analytics, are going to be, your page views, right? So if you have specific pages and where folks are clicking on, right? You want to, if you have calls to action, right? You want to see how many folks are clicking on those to see where they're going. Maybe the wording in your call to action needs to be rephrased, reworded. Maybe it's just not drawing them to that. Another important analytic you want to be mindful of is how much time folks spend on the page. So if they're getting to your page and they're exiting right away, it's because they're not finding what they need immediately, or maybe your keywords or the content that you have on your page doesn't match. Google really tends to penalize you for that, right? So if they put you in the results on the first page and someone gets to your website and they leave immediately, they're maybe saying, oh, maybe we ranked them wrong. You might need to rank them a little lower. But you really want to look at how much time folks are spending on your page. I talk about Google Analytics because it's one of the more powerful analytic programs out there, and it's free. Gives you tons of data. It's gonna give you data like heat maps of your website, like where folks are really spending the most time, where they're clicking. They really want to pay attention to that. So when you're looking at obviously how many unique visitors, but also the number of pages they're visiting.
Excellent. Any other questions from the group? Well, we've got Martin on here with us. So Martin, I do want to ask, you do work for Square, and Square is a payment service. What other programs or training does Square offer on their website? I know a lot of companies offer stuff on their website to help businesses. Does Square have some online tools that people can read up on how to create a payment processing on their website?
Absolutely. I'll put a site in the chat here. We offer tons of resources. I mean, our YouTube channel is probably the best resource. We have tons of videos there on how to do specific things within each of the Square products. But we have what's called our seller community, which is where all our FAQs are, our how-to videos, the most asked questions, right? And then you can ask questions there. Folks will either Square employees will answer, or we have we refer to our customers as sellers. So Square sellers will answer. So someone here, in the Valley that's been using Square for years, sees someone asking a question that they've dealt with before, they may answer it as well. So really kind of that community-based approach. So it's actually just sellercommunity.com. I would recommend that, and then just our YouTube channel. But we also have all other resources on our site as well to use any of our products and services.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you, Martin, for being with us. We'll leave the chat open a bit so you can post those websites in there. We want to remind everybody about, again, Thursday's session, 9 a.m., and Friday's special session. You can make both of those. Again, if you know somebody with an event venue or a restaurant, please share the information about Friday's special session. We want to make sure everybody understands how to get the funding that's going to be available for those two types of businesses. So please help and share that information. And with that, we want to thank Martin for his time and expertise on the subject. This session is being recorded and will be posted to the website later today. But with that, we will go ahead and wrap up early and give everybody about 12 minutes back and give you time to maybe, take a quick break before your next Zoom meeting if you have another one at 10 o'clock. But everybody have a great day, and we will see you on Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.